Hi guys, welcome back to the shop. Hey, today we're going to get back on the RM400. We're just going to start putting some stuff on, test fit and everything, and we'll just see where we get with that. Maybe we can get to the roller stage. That's kind of my goal. We won't be doing the forks yet in this video, but we're going to get to resealing those, tearing them apart, cleaning them up. And I think I've got most everything. I know there's some little parts that I've had to order. You know, you can't think of everything, and you know, you're always going to have something that you need. So that's what happens to me a lot is, you know, I can't get it, so I have to make it, or I can get it, or it's too expensive, or something. It's always something with this stuff. So just kind of bear with me. I'm sure that you folks are the same. We don't, you know, none of us have deep pockets, and you know, we just have to do a little bit at a time. We can't just buy the store out and expect to eat breakfast the next day. You know what I mean? Anyhow, let's get down there and get started on this thing and see where we get to. Come on. Okay guys, I'm going to repair the swing arm. Just got a couple places here. I don't know if you can see this or not, where the chain rubbed a little here. I'm going to add a little material in there, and down here where the chain came off and it kind of pulled the metal off, I'll add a little to that. I think that's about all I need to do to this thing. So we're just gonna, I've got it cleaned up pretty good. Just kind of work at it here a little bit. What I did on this side is I stuck the old bearing back in just a little ways, just to kind of support this while I'm welding. While I'm putting material in there. I don't want it to get so soft that it sags. So we're going to do that, and then I'm going to preheat the area a little bit with the propane torch, and then we'll see if we can add some rod to it. Had just a little spot up here also where it didn't look like it's not cracked, it just looks like they didn't get any weld in there for about half of that. Thanks guys. Don't forget to thumbs up please. Okay guys, we got her build up along here and along here and over the pivot, and we got it welded up on the side here all the way, hopefully. I think that's all I need to do. Let me start trimming it. I may have to add some more, but I think I'm good. Okay, I've got the metal put back. I'm not really looking to like polish it or anything like that. I just wanted, you know, where the chain, it had made it awful sharp here, so I added metal in there and kind of brought back the original contour. The same up here, and here we had the chain. You could see where the chain had gone, and we've got that material back in there, and then welded over here a little better maybe. But it's really only my intent was to get the sharp edges off and whatnot. Now this up here, this piece gets one of these. And that's why we had this all chewed up here, is because that was probably missing, because it goes right where that went. So that fits just like it ought to there. So I think we're about ready to put bearings and seals, everything that goes into the front of this. Okay, I've got this supported in the vise, and I'm going to go ahead and get the bearings in now. Let's see, I think that just goes in first. So I've got a little puller I made here to pull these in. Put your bearings with the number out so you can read them. If you need to replace them, then you can do so. I'm going to try to pull one in at a time instead of trying to pull them both in. Sometimes they can be kind of hard to pull. Start to turn on me over here. Okay, they've got to go in a little bit more, but I can't do it with the adapter I've got right here. Actually, I'm just going to use the next piece in line there to push it in. It may not. I think I'm going to have to turn it on the other side, because this is wanting to turn it on my bearing. Something like that. I'll just swap. I'll hold over here and turn it in on the other side. Okay. And once you get them all pulled in, and you need to get some grease in them. I like to do it now instead of fighting the grease while I'm trying to put the bearings in. kind of smash it into the bearing. And you got your inner races here. Get them lubed up good too. And then you've got a washer and your seal. And I like a little bit of grease inside on the seal. Not just the rubber part, but the inside part. And then you can go ahead and put your washer in there. And then put a little grease on it too. Just like that. It should be rebuilt. You can get your little grease on your bolt. Well, I like to run it all the way in the middle because that keeps it from rusting in there. And then just see if it goes through. Yeah, there we go. So we're all lined up. Okay, we just got to get our slider on. I'm just going to put a little red Loctite on it. Get this other one started. Whoops. And then it just falls apart. I'm going to get one in. It's really not that hard. There, I think maybe I can get it started. There we go. Okay, I got 480 inch-pounds on the pivot bolt. Not sure I'll be able to do it with it out of the frame. There it is. I'm going to take it to the next hole for my cotter pin. And we've got a roller top and bottom. Just get a little grease in there. And I don't know where it's supposed to be, but I'm putting a washer in there. I guess I could look at the IPB. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and tighten that up. And I'm also going to put, it's got a captive nut on the back of it. But I'm replacing the bolt with a little bit longer one. I'm hoping I can get a nylock on the end of it. I think you can see it there. See, it's got a captive nut here in the, and I just want to captive nut there, or I believe I just barely got it. All right, and we got another one for the lower down here. And then the same thing here. This is one we repaired along with the, a little tight probably, along with the engine mount. And get my shocks on. You got to make sure that these little adapters go in there. Okay, get our triple tree back on. Now the bearings and everything are already lubricated. I'm just going to put a little bit of grease in the races. Had to clean those out and everything when I sandblasted the frame. And we'll snug this up. And back it off just about an eighth. Yeah, maybe a little more. There we go. Thanks, guys. Don't forget to thumbs up, please. Okay, take a look at the chain guide here. I've got I've got 3 sets. That one there, it's not much left of that one. This one wasn't too bad, but it's got some wallered out holes, and we've got some cracks here and here. So what I did was I took the shiny one that you saw there. This side here is in pretty good shape, and this side here is also. I don't see much there. The only thing is this wallered out hole, just one. So we'll weld that up, re-drill a hole, and looks like maybe we need to work on this one too a little bit. All that should be pretty easy. And where the slider in here goes, I've got one real one that's a factory one, and I'll make another one that goes on the other side here. So I'll make one out of Delrin. So we've got to weld up a couple holes, re-drill them, make one of these. And I don't have any rollers, and those are kind of hard to get. I think I've got the right spacers, and I've got a CT2, or a C2 roller, just one. I was able to find 2 rollers online, so I'll have to wait on those, but I can go ahead and repair the bracket and make the other Delrin slider. Okay, the ones I welded up, I just bolted the other plate to it, and we'll use it as a pattern to guide through for the holes there. Actually had quite a bit of area. It looked like a washer had spun there and had kind of decreased the thickness of that right here. So I added quite a bit of weld and then went ahead and ground it down. I think that'll work. Now we've just got to make our other Delrin slider. This was saw cut on the end, so we'll just take a little bit of it off with the lathe and square it up. Okay, that's about how thick it is. So we'll take a slice off. It's kind of slick. I guess that's why they use it. Not quite the same color, but it'll work. I think we can get our CDI box on now. Put our little extra bracket on. I wonder why they did this. Well, I know why they did it, but I just wonder why they didn't put the brackets in the right place to start with. Looks about right. Okay, we've got some pretty well seized up wheel bearings here. And I just happen to have some because Bobby Joe sent me a boatload of them. Thank you, Bobby. Seen better days. Much better. This one I think is just, yeah, just like it. All right. Not a lock tape. Never fear. Got another one. Knew I was getting close. I've got a lot of hardware to plate, the adjusters, the nuts, a lot of stuff there. I've got pretty much the same stuff on the 250 I got to do also. So sometime here pretty soon I need to get geared up to do that. This is kind of a mock it up and see how everything fits deal. A little paint on that. Just seeing how things fit. These are all the 81 to, I think 81 to 84 to be safe. It's got the conical hub, straight pull spokes. It's just easier to find these, and it seems like they work okay. Haven't had any trouble with them so far. They make some short arms and long arms for the brake. Okay, we've got a new bushing and a spacer. All this is homemade because they want so much for this stuff. We've got an O-ring on the inside and the outside, backed up with a washer on both sides. And our brake pedal goes back there. Okay, I had to pull the brake stay off. The bolt needs to come in from the outside, and then the nuts out here. That's what you got to do to get the clearance that you need. It's good. And we can get our brake stay back in there. Yeah, it's pretty tight in there. You've got the brake stay bolt has to come in from this side, the nut on the inside, and the brake needs to go in there, the bolt from the inside, not on the outside. It's the way it's got to go. So it's pretty tight. Okay. I'm happy. Okay. Got quite a bit done, but I'll say I've got painting to do yet, like with the stay. We've just got to kind of mock it up, make sure that we've got everything and everything fits. So it's kind of a slow process, and then we've got to tear some of it back apart. I've got to replate all this stuff back here. You can't buy that stuff anymore, or I suppose you can, but you know, you pay through the nose. And of course, this chain guide has to go on before the wheel goes in. Yeah, I've got some painting to do here. And there's another thing that needs plated. Got some new hardware, engine bolts mostly. Okay, got her turned around. Get these forks up in there. Of course, we do have to take these out and put new seals in them. But we'll just continue with our mock-up here. Let's see if we can get our wheel on here. Bearings seem pretty good in this one. And on the other side we've got our this spacer shield goes on. And this setup doesn't use a nut. It actually screws into the fork leg here. I think I'm going to have to let that down a little bit so I don't fight it so much. I do got to line my brake stop up. Okay, this is kind of the spacer and the axle. I'm sure you're familiar with them, but you can see here that this one, the axle just screws right into the fork leg there. And by doing so, the only spacer that's required is the spacer shield that I showed you. And it goes right here. And you can see the axle comes on up here, and now we're going to pinch this right here. And that keeps the axle from coming out. There we go. That tire is flat as a pancake and won't take any air. I don't know what the deal is, but the tire's no good on that one. I really lucked out on the back one when I got this one. This is a real good tire. Certainly not good for a pro, but good enough for me. Got a lot of tread on it yet. And like I said, once you get that in, you tighten up the pinch. I don't know why they put two different type fasteners on here. You know, it could be because the plate is directional. You've got an arrow right here pointing up, so maybe that's just to make sure you do it right. You know, sometimes some of us need some help. Okay, probably going to need some new shoes though, but I think everything else looks okay. Yeah, looks good. All right, got us a roller. Okay guys, I think that's about all we got time for today. Just a quick look at here what we've done. And you can go back and look at the original video where we tore this or started the project, and you remember how this was sharp. So we welded that up, put a little material in there, and also up here. And now we've got the slider on. And this air box, you know, it's just like all of them. You know, I'll probably get some silicone hose and split it to put up here. And you know, when I bought this thing, I was so excited to find one at a reasonable price. I didn't even notice that this piece was missing. So I'm probably going to have to build this. It's got a couple little prongs that goes up. The air cleaner cage goes around that. So I'm going to have to make something here and something for the air cleaner boot to fit on. You know, they're just so expensive, and you know, I think I gave I don't know, maybe $50 for this one, and now I see why. I just didn't have it all. But you know, all in all, it's in good shape. You know, a lot of them got holes in them. But I think I'll try that up here. And this might be what they did too. The silicone kind of, it's retardant to that quite a bit, so it doesn't make too big a mess. But we've got our rear wheel on with a pretty good tire, and sprocket's in pretty good shape. It's a 48. I think the bikes had 49s when they came from the factory. But we've got the chain guide here that I've got some parts coming for. I think I've got everything coming that I need. And we did a couple little repairs on this on a couple holes. Wasn't a big deal. I've got everything here. I've got a picture of it all, so I know how to put it together. It's kind of complicated. But that's all on. We've got the forks on. We'll be taking these off one at a time and rebuilding them. And I've got a pretty nice front wheel here. You know, the spokes, at least they're not terribly bad, but a lot of them are really rusty. The back one, not quite as good. But this one, at least, I don't have to re-spoke. I have a couple more here that are in not as good a shape. This is the one I had on originally, and it's got a bunch of broken spokes, so and they're in pretty bad shape. But I kind of like these wheels. These, as far as I can tell, are 81 to at least 84, and they may be even up to like 87. I can't really, you know, I don't have them side by side, and I don't know that much about them. I just know that these seem to work okay on these RMs, and you know, you might have to make an adjustment for cables, the ends on your cables. They should bolt up all right. Everything did okay on the 250 over here. You know, I used, this is a little bit different one here, but you can see the spool is a little bit different in the middle. But everything hooked up okay here. It's just that I had a little extra slack in the cable, but not a lot. And I've got some work to do yet on the brake cable here. I really don't want to try to spread this, so I think what I'm going to do is take the pedal off. It's got a couple of rough edges on it, and it just doesn't want to slide and work on there like it ought to. So I'm gonna pull that brake pedal back off and massage that a little bit. This was a aftermarket, I believe it come from Venco, and everything's in pretty good shape there. It's just that. And I did notice here that this spool that goes in there is a little bit loose, so I may have to use the one that I need to plate. It is bigger. So I think we're in good shape. I got to pull this off and paint it, and well, I think that's about it. Maybe at that point we can start putting some plastic on or get the engine in or whatever. But we've just got a little bit of tweaking here and there for the roller. Okay guys, there you have it. We're kind of where I kind of needed to be on this. Uh, we've got the 1980 RM400 mocked up. I've kind of got what we need on there to make, at least to make it a roller. I've got some fabrication to do. I've got some, still got to go through the forks. I don't know whether I have to pull the wheel off in order to put that chain guide on, but we'll see. Doesn't matter. If we do, we do. Not a big deal. But we're pretty much done back there. I can't foresee any reason why we'd have to disassemble the swing arm or anything like that. That should be good to go. We've just got to kind of finesse the brake cable over there. And you know, anytime you change something, I see on these wheels, that's the one thing you might have to change your the end on your cable or something like that. But you know, the problem is these wheels for these bikes were only 2 years, and they're just really hard to find. I think a lot of the back wheels had problems with when the sprocket bolts would get loose, you'd bust a hub and all that stuff. So it's just easier to find these 81 to 84, or, you know, like I say, it may go further. If I don't have all of them to compare, I really can't tell you. I just haven't been around them that much. Originally, I just kind of looked at them and I thought, well, you know, maybe I should try it. And I picked up 81 model stuff. And everything worked just fine. Like I say, sometimes you have to change a cable in, or in this case, the barrel that goes into the lever on the rear. I've had to make those before, but you know, as long as you can fabricate some stuff, you can get the job done, and everything else works fine. You know, you just have more years to pick from, and consequently, they're easier to find. But anyhow, we've got quite a bit to do yet, but the engine is built. I need a tire on the front. Back tire is good enough for me, and maybe the next time we'll get the forks done, and maybe even start putting some plastic on. I've got all the new plastic for this model, and I've had the Clark tank on, which is a really good reproduction for these machines here. But anyhow, we made some progress. I apologize for putting this up late. I had so much stuff to do in the yard yesterday that I just couldn't get it all done, and by the time I got to the evening time, I was just beat and I couldn't do it. So I was up here with the chickens this morning, and it started out 64 degrees here this morning, so I had the door open and everything, and it was still dark. And as you can see, we still have leaves on the trees. They're just kind of starting to fall. It's just, it's been a really great fall. I can't remember the last time that we had one like this. And you know, normally we start getting snow in middle September, and you know, you see some warm-ups here and there, but you know, it just we're blessed this year to have this great weather. Anyhow, hey, thanks for going along on the ride. See you next video.